What's going on, guys? My name is Josh, and I'm back today for another episode recap for the Real World Homecoming New Orleans. So yes, guys, I just watched the finale. It definitely was emotional, and I definitely was sad to see all the roommates say goodbye, but it was a really good episode. Before I get started, though, I do want to just say a quick thank you to everyone who's been watching these Real World Homecoming episode recap videos and commenting. I definitely appreciate all the support. Now, before we get started, if you could do me a favor and please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Now you better watch out because it's time to get this video started. Let's go. So guys, Real World New Orleans was pretty much my favorite season of the Real World. I love the original show, so on my wish list of homecomings was definitely Real World Homecoming New Orleans. So I was so happy we got a Real World Homecoming New Orleans. And I'm just so happy, we got to see all the roommates, come together again, see how they're doing, and just kind of catch up with them. I feel like it was like seeing old friends. And I know part of this homecoming, haven't been necessarily good, or just there's been some stuff that's been frustrating with this homecoming, especially with certain people's antics. But I will say, this last episode, I feel like gave me everything I wanted in the homecoming. It just was so nice to see all the roommates kind of come together. And I feel like my goal in the whole watching this as a viewer was, I want to see the roommates leave in a better place, especially in the beginning of the season. I just felt like there was a lot of conflict and issues between some of the roommates. So I just wanted the roommates to leave in a peaceful place and just leave on a happy note. And I feel like they did. So this episode really kind of gave me everything I've been wanting for in the Real World Homecoming. So yeah, guys, but let's get into, we'll get into the episode recap. So the episode opens up with pretty much there's a Mardi Gras party in front of the mansion, and we see more of Matt's terrible dancing. He definitely is a terrible dancer. Kelly pretty much sees, when they pull up, Kelly sees the Mardi Gras, parade in front of the house, and she's pretty much like, hell no, she said pretty much that she can't have fun on demand. And the roommates we all see the rest of the roommates are all having fun. Julie gets on top of the float. Melissa notices that Kelly is not there. And then we see actually Kelly's inside the house. She's packing. We see Danny get on top of, the float. And, he's starting to have fun as well. And talking to, having a parade. And then we see Kelly says she's pretty much listening to her inner voice. And she has decided that she wants to leave. Someone comes up to Melissa, asks her to sign a piece of her artwork she made on the original show. So that was really cool. And then Kelly says she pretty much doesn't understand this reality TV world. She tells her, and then pretty much the roommates come inside. And she tells the roommates, she's leaving. The experience is supposed to be fun, and she isn't having fun. She says she's not cut out for reality TV. Danny says, Kelly knew Kelly was having anxiety, but he didn't expect this. And once she makes up her mind, her mind's made up. And so as far as Kelly leaving, I think at this point, Kelly's been debating on leaving for the last couple episodes. So I do think, you got to trust her inner voice. So if Kelly wants to go, I'd rather have her go than kind of stay and be unhappy. I do think I agree with Kelly. I think while I still like Kelly as a person, I still am happy she came back on the show. I do think, reality TV just is not for her. I don't think it was necessarily for her in the first experience of the Real World. I think that's why she was absent so many times at the house when she was with Peter. I feel like she was kind of getting out of filming, but she definitely handled it better on the original show, where this homecoming, you can just see her struggling with, being on reality TV. And I totally agree with that, though, because I would be the same way. It's not going to be for everyone, and would be hard to be recorded and to be so vulnerable and share, your story with the world. So I definitely respect Kelly's decision. I'm just glad she made a decision. I think her not making a decision the last, couple episodes, that was, hard to watch. So I'm glad she just kind of made a decision. Now Julie thinks Kelly should stay. While they may not all get along, it is a learning experience, for everyone. Melissa understands Kelly's decision. Jamie says if he starts something, he likes to finish it. He didn't know Kelly felt the way she did, especially because it's right before the end. Tokyo appreciate Kelly being there in the first place, and he says Kelly pretty much says her biggest takeaway from all of this is to listening into her inner voice. Which, on side note, I do think that is important. You gotta trust your gut instincts, and as an adult, trust your inner voice. So if your inner voice is telling you don't want to do something, don't do it. That is just, that is the best part of being an adult, is listening to your inner voice. So I do agree with Kelly, you got to trust your inner voice, and I respect her decision. Julie feels like Kelly just kind of gave up on them, and Matt is going to miss her, and he's glad he got to know her during this experience and see her life now. Now, Tokyo understands Kelly's decisions. He's also an introvert, and this experience has been hard for him. He's not used to living with other people, and first of all, I totally understand, Tokyo's, I'm an introvert as well, and to pretty much go on a reality TV show would be really hard for me. So I definitely understand, Tokyo as far as that, and not, being a hard experience for an introvert. Totally get that. So they all play a game of answering questions from a fishbowl, and someone asks a question about how did parenthood change your life, and we see Jamie and Danny answer this, and then the camera focuses on Tokyo. Julie tells Tokyo that his art is pretty much his child, and we all create in different ways. Tokyo seems like he's about to say something, but then just says thank you. Danny thinks Tokyo intentionally makes an effort not to share. And Melissa says she notices that Tokyo is doing a dipping and dodging when it comes to this experience. He's withdrawn again. And I gotta say, I get where Tokyo is coming from. I'm definitely an introvert as well. And I just know how I would be in a situation like this if I would be, happy, I'd be smiling, and I'd be, listening to everyone. But when it comes to myself, I probably wouldn't be sharing. I definitely would probably be a little guarded as well. And I would only share what, I wanted to share. That is me being an introvert. So I definitely get, Tokyo, he's sharing what he wants to share, and maybe like certain topics, it's hard for him to share or open up on. So I do get where he's coming from. I feel like, if you compare Tokyo from the original experience to now, he has shared so much in this, Real World Homecoming New Orleans. And, I just feel like he's been very present. So I'm just thankful, that we got to see the Tokyo now and him opening up as much as he did. And yeah, maybe he didn't share everything, but he has came a long way, and he has been really open about the experience. Now, Jamie asked Tokyo if he has any ideas of what the group should do before they leave, and Tokyo pretty much says he'll think about it. Melissa says Tokyo just stays in costume. That is how he's getting through this experience. Jamie says he has seen Tokyo outside of this house, and it seems like he's a little bit more laid back. He said that they never got a moment to ask kind of basic questions. There is a lot they don't know about, Tokyo's life outside of this. Melissa wants to know more about him. And then we kind of see flashbacks then of Tokyo talking about, the club incident with Julie, and then the house meeting with Julie. It just took a lot of energy out of him, and just kind of, took a lot of energy, those experiences. And then even revisiting, Come On Be My Baby Tonight, and talking about that experience. He says when he shares, it takes a lot of energy out of him. And this whole experience is about sharing. And he's like pretty much sharing as much as he can. And he's running out of energy. So it's very easy to kind of be an introvert when he's sharing as much. He's pushed to his limit as far as when it comes to sharing. Now, Julie says the experience is definitely harder than she expected. And she pretty much asks Melissa where they stand. Melissa thinks the apology that Julie did offer was sincere. And she thinks, Melissa thinks they have closure about the situation, and she accepted Julie's apology, and they're pretty much ending in a good place, a better place. I do think, Melissa has, accepted Julie's apology. I don't necessarily think they're going to be friends after this experience, but I don't think there's going to be any hate between the two, and I'm glad that they ended on a positive note. Whether, they are friends outside of this or not, I'm just happy they're in a better place. And if they saw each other, I feel like they would say hi to each other rather than, maybe getting, not say hi to each other. So I'm just happy that they're leaving on a better place. Now, Julie has a conversation with Tokyo. She starts asking Tokyo about his life, and Melissa is eavesdropping. Pretty much Tokyo said he's single, and Julie asked Tokyo if he has any kids, and Tokyo says, we're not going to get into that. Melissa then kind of jumps in, and she says, she's been pacing herself, and she wants a clear picture of, his life, a clear picture of Tokyo. She wants to know his life now outside of the art. Tokyo says he does not like to force a conversation, and he wants to have conversations as they naturally come out. Melissa says this experience was hard back then, and it's hard now. And pretty much she pretty much wants to let Tokyo know if he ever needs to talk about it, she's pretty much here for him, and she doesn't want Tokyo to feel alone in that. And Tokyo says Melissa was in the original show was trying to be an ally to her or to him, and he acknowledges that he missed that opportunity. He kind of pushed her away on the original show, and he says, he will utilize their friendship, and he promises he will do that. And, you got to respect that. I feel like, yes, he maybe didn't share about certain stuff going on in his life now, but some stuff, he doesn't have to share everything. And I do feel like, I do believe him. He's going to continue these relationships outside of the show, and I feel like they will get to know more about Tokyo outside of the show. He just might not necessarily want to do that on camera. And I get that, and I'm just happy that, I do feel like, the original show, Tokyo, when he was done with the show, he just kind of ended his relationship with all the roommates, where I feel like this time, he's going to be friends with everyone, and I'm excited for that, them to connect outside of that and continue to get to know Tokyo. Now, Melissa talks about her experience painting on the original show with Lionel, and they pretty much all meet up with him, and they paint a mural. David came up with the idea of a Phoenix Rising, and then we just see all the roommates come together. They're having a good time, and they're just kind of, painting this mural, and they have a happy moment as a family. And at the end, they also do a group message to the other Real World cast. Julie says, they skipped all of y'all and went right to 9. And pretty much they end with singing Come On Be My Baby Tonight. So I just thought that was a fun moment. And now they wake up for the final day, and they're all packing, and Tokyo pretty much said that originally the roommates all went their separate ways, but now with this time, if they do it again, shame on them. And Julie says she doesn't want to leave. The roommates are just starting to hit their stride, like they're finally starting to, get along better. And she's just, sad about them leaving, but she's also peace at that with them leaving as well. The roommates all sit down to breakfast. Tokyo asks a question, would you let your younger self do this again? And everyone pretty much says yes, they would do the original experience all again, knowing what they know now. Danny says he has a hard time with that question because this experience, the original experience, really affected his life. And Melissa says, he was pretty much forced to grow up, and he was this face of, this group, and it was just really hard on him. And Melissa just says he's a very strong person, and she sees it. And it was just a really nice moment between, I know this life has been hard for Danny after the show, and he was, a role model to so many, youth. And I think, his story was really important and really did inspire people. And I'm just, I'm sad that his life was affected in negative ways, but I feel like his story also was really positive on the world. And yeah, I'm glad they kind of everyone acknowledged that. Now, Matt says 22 years, pretty much the last 22 years, people would ask, questions about the roommates, and he never had a good answer for them because he didn't stay in contact with them. But now he does. Now that he knows the roommates, when people ask about, Melissa, he can give them an answer on how she's doing. And pretty much the roommates all cheer. And then we pretty much see all the roommates, say goodbye, and everyone kind of leaves the house. And I would say the goodbye was definitely sad, seeing, all of them say goodbye. And yeah, that was pretty much the finale. I do kind of wish, I understand why, Kelly wanted to leave, but I really, at that last moments, I really wish Kelly would have came back even for the breakfast and kind of left the house with all the other roommates. It was kind of sad seeing, 6 of them together and not 7. I just feel like maybe Kelly should have left, but then maybe came back just at the last day, the last morning. But either way, I understand why she left. But yeah, I feel like out of the homecoming, I got what I wanted as a Real World fan. I really, I love all these roommates, and it was good to see them all again and see how they're doing. It felt like catching up with old friends. I'm definitely going to miss these guys, and yeah, I'm just excited that we got a Real World Homecoming in New Orleans. But what did you guys think? What did you think of the finale? What did you think of this season in general? Did you like it? Did you like this finale? Are you going to miss the roommates? Please leave your comments below, and as always, thank you so much for watching.